You can save 15% or more at Amazon when you pay with Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash. Just go to purse.bogosity.tv. You can set your own discount. 5% gets you fastest delivery, or you can set it to 30% or more if you're not in a hurry. Purse makes it so easy to save money at Amazon by buying with crypto. Just go to purse.bogosity.tv and start saving now. Welcome to the Bogosity Podcast for the week of May 19th, 2019, the podcast that's a lonely teenage bronco buck. This is your host, Shane Killian. Let's deform the news of the bogus. A significant step towards ending the insane war on drugs may be in sight. Mexican President Andrés Obrador, known as AMLO, has called for the decentralization of all drugs and moving funding from enforcement to treatment. He's called on the international community, and specifically the U.S., to do the same. He called drug abuse a public safety crisis and said that the current prohibitionist strategy is unsustainable. His policy proposal says that legislation is the only real remedy and calls for bilateral negotiations with the U.S. and multilateral negotiations with the UN. Drug reform advocates have applauded the policy, such as Steve Hawkins, executive director of the Marijuana Policy Project, who said, quote, "The war on drugs has been extremely costly, not just in terms of government resources, but also human lives, and it has failed to accomplish its objective. Prohibition policies have, by and large, caused more harm to people and communities than the drugs they were intended to eliminate, and they haven't come anywhere close to eliminating the supply or the demand." Despite more and more law enforcement resources being dedicated to prohibition, consumption and illegal trafficking of drugs has reached record levels worldwide. So there are a huge number of people around the world that support the proposal, but how the U.S. will react to it remains to be seen. Still, there's reason for hope, because as Hawkins points out, quote, "Governments are increasingly finding that they can neither justify nor afford maintaining the war on drugs. Leaders are looking for exit strategies, as we are now seeing in Mexico." Ads are annoying, but ad blockers prevent publishers from making money. What if you could support your favorite websites, YouTube creators, Twitch streamers, social accounts, and many more ad-free and without paying anything, and even make some money yourself? It's not a pipe dream, it's airtime. Go to airtime.bogosity.tv and get the browser extension, and you'll earn cryptocurrency for the sites you visit, and so will the publisher. This is not a crypto miner. You and the publisher will both get part of the reward from current miners of the BitTube cryptocurrency, with no middleman taking a cut. Even if the publisher hasn't signed up yet, his tube will be put into a dedicated wallet that he can claim upon sign up. You can also use your tube to tip publishers and even purchase products. Airtime monetizes users and publishers with no ads or crypto miners. Go to airtime.bogosity.tv and start making money now. Say, if you're tired of the promos in this podcast, well, the patrons got it early and with no ads or promos. Just go to patreon.bogosity.tv and donate at any level. Something else that doesn't work, as we've covered, is facial recognition technology. There's just too much that can throw it off or result in false positives. But as we've seen, people have been arrested on nothing more than a face match, with no probable cause whatsoever. So San Francisco, of all places, has banned the use of facial recognition software by police and other government agencies by an 8-to-1 vote of the Board of Supervisors. City Supervisor Aaron Peskin said, quote, "I think part of San Francisco being the real and perceived headquarters for all things tech also comes with a responsibility for its local legislators. We have an outsized responsibility to regulate the excesses of technology precisely because they are headquartered here." Matt Cagle of the ACLU said that the technology, quote, "provides government with unprecedented power to track people going about their daily lives. That's incompatible with a healthy democracy." The ban does need to pass a second vote next week to go into effect, but this seems like just a formality. Other cities are considering bans like Oakland, as well as Somerville, Massachusetts. According to the EFF, some cities where facial recognition is actively being used include Las Vegas, Orlando, San Jose, San Diego, New York City, Boston, Detroit, and Durham, North Carolina. It's hard to know exactly where, since governments are keeping people in the dark about its use. But we do know it's being used statewide in Colorado, California, and Virginia, as well as being employed by Customs and Border Protection. So this is one case where we hope San Francisco will be starting a trend. If you're on the Wi-Fi in a coffee shop or hotel, anyone on that network can get your traffic. Do you really trust all of those strangers? For that matter, do you really trust your ISP? A VPN can protect you from prying eyes, disguise your location, and even foil government censors. It's essential in this day and age, so go to vpn.bogosity.tv and you'll be taken to BoxPN. Starting at just $2.99 a month, you can get unlimited high-speed connections to VPN servers all over the world, and they don't log connections, so your privacy is assured. Traveling abroad, just VPN home, and don't worry about what those other governments are doing. Back at home, stop your ISP from traffic shaping and messing with the quality internet access you're paying good money for. You can connect from multiple machines at once, including your smartphone or tablet, and it supports all the secure standards, including OpenVPN and SSTP. Bypass censors and surveillance with your own secure VPN connection. Go to vpn.bogosity.tv. Oh, Saloon, how much entertainment you've given us over the years. Not on purpose, of course, but by being complete idiots. For newer listeners, Saloon is our pet name for Salon.com, which is facing bankruptcy and is currently in talks to sell itself off for $5 million. According to an SEC filing, Salon Media Group has reached a deal to sell itself to a different company called Salon.com LLC. Don't ask me to explain how that works. What's kind of pathetic is that they only have to pay $550,000 at closing. The rest of the money goes into promissory notes payable over the next 2 years. But even with terms that favorable to them, Salon said there was no guarantee the sale could be completed, and they may have to go into liquidation. Salon CEO, former NBC and YouTube executive Jordan Hoffner, resigned on May 3rd, and the SEC is threatening to delist their penny stock for failure to file financial disclosure documents. So what future there is for Salon, we just don't know. Hopefully they can get back on their feet and be just as moronic as they always were. Hey, I got a podcast to run here. We live in a world where light bulbs connect to the internet, and recent attacks on them prove that your online security is under threat like never before. Not only your websites, but the internet-enabled devices you buy. And the biggest problem is weak passwords. That's why you need LastPass. LastPass allows you to randomly generate strong, unique passwords on the web and on your internet-enabled devices, all protected by one master password. LastPass sets up in minutes and gives you secure automatic logins throughout the web, synchronizing across all your browsers, all your computers, and even your mobile devices, at home, at work, or on the road. It even securely stores sensitive form data, including credit card numbers, backup sensitive documents, software licenses, Wi-Fi logins, and more. And with LastPass Premium, you can get these benefits on other applications, manage passwords for your entire family, and also get priority customer support. Sign up at password.bogosity.tv for a free month of LastPass Premium. Log in securely everywhere using the last password you'll ever have to remember. Go to password.bogosity.tv and get LastPass now. And now it's time to cavitate this week's biggest Bogon emitter. And this week it goes to Congressman Jason Crow and Senator Michael Bennet and the Brady campaign, of which they were acting on behalf, for their horrific actions which caused the students at the STEM School and Academy Highlands Ranch to walk out on them. Back on the 7th, the Denver schools suffered a shooting where one student was killed and 8 were injured. The one who was killed died when he tried to stop one of the suspects, and almost certainly prevented the shooting from becoming a lot worse than it was. A memorial vigil was held in honor of the victims. Turns out it was actually organized by the Brady campaign for the purposes of pushing a gun control agenda, as these psychopaths always do whenever there's a tragedy. Crow and Bennet attended and spoke about gun control, causing a large group of students and parents to become angry and walk out. They were especially angry that the students themselves weren't allowed to speak. The students were infuriated that their pain was not being recognized. One student said, quote, "This was not a vigil. This was purely a political stunt. This is not what we wanted for Kendrick." Another hated the fact that their fallen classmate had been turned into a, quote, "prop." Another student said, quote, "We are mourning the loss of our best friend, our brother, Kendrick Castillo. He's somebody that cared for everybody, somebody who was always there, that could fix any problem. Whether that was with his hammer or with his words, he was there. He was somebody we all loved, and somebody that was so kind that he was willing to sacrifice his own life for ours, and we are forever grateful." As the two Congress toads tried pushing their agenda, students started chanting about mental health. Good for these students. Hopefully more of them will stand up to psychopathic bullies wanting to crap all over the graves of the dead to push their bull-headed agenda, an agenda that they know will not work. And so Congressman Jason Crow, Senator Michael Bennet, and the Brady campaign showing themselves for the scum they are absolutely makes them this week's biggest Bogon emitter. Do you have children, or nieces or nephews? Are you homeschooling, or just want to counter some of the socialist indoctrination most children get in school? If so, go to Bogosity.tv/TuttleTwins, and you'll be taken to a website where you can get some great books for elementary-aged children. The Tuttle Twins books are books about liberty and free market economics that include children's versions of Bastiat's The Law, Leonard Read's I, Pencil, and Hayek's The Road to Serfdom, as well as books about the Federal Reserve and how regulations protect business cronies. They'll learn about the harm caused by eminent domain, or regulations passed in the name of safety, and fundamental concepts of liberty. And as you can see from the sample pages on the website, they're all easy to read and nicely illustrated. They're just $9.99 a piece, or get a special discount as well as free bonuses when you purchase all 5. You can even buy in bulk to donate to schools and local libraries. So get the Tuttle Twins books at Bogosity.tv/TuttleTwins. And now let's cut holes in the pockets of this week's Idiot Extraordinaire. And this week it goes to the EU once again for more unforeseen consequences of GDPR. The post office in Dublin, Ireland temporarily took out all of their trash cans because they contained personal information that might have conflicted with the law. It seems like more and more what we get in the post is junk mail, legitimate sources turning to electronic means nowadays. So a lot of people pick up their mail and immediately throw most of it away in the trash cans the post office provides. But that junk mail still has their name and address, and possibly other personal details as well. And under GDPR, protecting those personal details is the responsibility of the post office. According to a spokesperson for An Post, the Irish Postal Administration, quote, "All public bins were removed from the GPO. Items of a confidential nature like receipts and mail items are often deposited in the bins by customers and visitors in the post office's main hall. This material then technically becomes a responsibility of An Post under GDPR. To head off any possible breach of GDPR in the future, An Post decided to remove the bins on a trial basis." This comes soon after school principals warned parents they can't take photos at school events because of GDPR. Now, of course no one had this in mind when they passed the law, but the law isn't about what the legislators intended, only what they wrote down. And when you make a law as invasive and onerous as GDPR, no matter how well-meaning your intentions are, these kinds of consequences are inevitable. But the EU never seems to learn this lesson, so we're left with trying to remind them in the only way we know how, by giving them yet another Idiot Extraordinaire. Well, that wraps up this running over the same old ground edition of the Bogosity Podcast. Come to discord.bogosity.tv where you can join the discussion and post a question, statement, news article, or rant. This podcast depends on you to keep going, so please go to donate.bogosity.tv where you can give using PayPal or crypto, or subscribe at Patreon or Subscribestar to get the podcast and YouTube videos early and ad-free. You can even support this podcast for free with the airtime extension. Thank you for listening. Until next time, here's a quote from Robert Heinlein. Criminals are never materially handicapped by gun control. The only effect is to disarm the peaceful citizen and put him fully at the mercy of the lawless. The Bogosity Podcast is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives 4.0 International License. Bogosity. You can now get 2 free audiobook downloads and a 30-day free trial at audible.bogosity.tv. Your choice from the world's largest selection of over 180,000 digital audiobooks and spoken word content for your iOS or Android device, Kindle, or MP3 player. Go to audible.bogosity.tv now.